So, racing season's over. It's time to have to work for a living. And they were working on something kind of cool. 1947 DeSoto. Yeah, a 1947 DeSoto's in here. There she is. Two-door custom. All original. Flathead inline six. I don't know what Willie Nelson's doing today. Well, he's got a concert nowhere. Kind of life he lives. What do you think he does for fun? Okay, so a little bit about today's project of what I'm working on back here. Of course, I said 1947 DeSoto. None of that matters. Anyway, this car was bought brand new by a family in 1947 when the gentleman passed away. I think they said the car was stuffed into this barn in a hallway of this barn in the 60s, I think, if I remember the story correctly. Maybe a little off, but anyway, it was stuffed in the hallway of this barn when the guy passed away. It sat there till a couple of years ago. Was drug out of the hallway of the barn by someone else, and they just never did anything with it. They literally drug it out of the barn and took it to their place, and that was it. So a friend of mine comes in, purchases the car, and I haven't really done anything with it either. I did pour some gas in the carburetor. It crunked right up. No smoke, no nothing. It just fired right up. So the project for today is the car has no brakes on it. So we're gonna go through and try to do some diagnostics here to figure out why there's no brakes. There's no brakes because it's set for 50 years, but why there's no brakes, and then see if we can actually correct that problem. So first we start with the master cylinder. Now for those that don't know, the master cylinder on these cars are not under the hood. We actually come in here and roll back some of this nice 50-year-old carpet, and there's a door right here in the floor. You open this door up and the master cylinder is right there. Has a large, like a nut head on top of it. Take that off, fill it with fluid. So we took that off and the master cylinder is bone dry. So we've added fluid to it. And the next step is now we're gonna go through each wheel, starting at the back passenger wheel. We're gonna go through each wheel and try to bleed the brakes out. Insert tech tip here. So a lot of times when you're bleeding brakes, there's some frustration because fluid doesn't come out. It's a misconception that there's a hole straight through these. There's actually not. The hole, if you look, is on the side. Now that one looks okay, but then you come up through here, and what they do is the fluid goes in here, travels up the inside of this, and comes out here. Well, that's stopped up with dirt or rat crap or something. But so your frustration level will be you open this up and you get nothing out of it, and then you think there's a problem somewhere else and fluid's not getting back here. When in fact the problem is the bleeder valve is stopped up with crud. So make sure you clean these out when you do your brake. When you bleed your brakes, clean these out, especially on something that's been sitting as long as this. We now return you to our regularly scheduled butchery. So who didn't see this coming? The 80-year-old carburetor is going to need rebuilt. So we're going to carefully ease it open. Try to do it without tearing these gaskets up because I don't know how hard they'll be to find. So we're going to try to take it apart without tearing these gaskets up. Now,
If that's not possible, then I have some gasket material, and we'll try to cut and make some gaskets. But I believe we can, with a little effort, we can get this thing apart without tearing anything up. It's probably not what you want to see in a carburetor in a car you're trying to make run. We'll get her. Okay, this is why I save all my old carburetor parts and old carburetor kits, and I keep a little box full of little carburetor doodads and pieces and things. For instances like this, the little wire that goes around the float is broken. It's not even, actually it's gone now, but it was gone. It was just wasted away. So everything's now cleaned out in the carburetor and it's cleaned up, but we need the needle to be able to work. So now I can start digging through some of my old boxes of parts here and find the new little wire that goes around there that we can adapt and make work in here in this old carburetor. I need to focus in right there. That's what was after. There's an old needle and that little wire that's on top of it right there. That's what we're needing. So by saving that, now I have a piece. See, that's garbage to most people. But that's the kind of things we do to keep cars running around here. Seems like my own hand is my obstacle today. I normally have a magnetic light that I hang on top of the hood for stuff like this, but of course I didn't charge it last night because why would I? But I'm trying to put this carburetor back together. Now get it on the car, and hopefully in just a little while with our little cobbled together fix, the car will be running again. Now we had this car running before back in the winter, and we never drove it, but we had the motor running, and I done it by filling the bowl full and letting it run that way. There it is. Spent half the time looking for what I just had in my hand. So we had it running that way, but the goal now is to actually try to drive the car. In order to do that, I need to make somewhat of a fuel system. So we got that in there. And we do have a little makeshift fuel system rigged up here. We actually got this going to an electric pump into a can to try to get everything running. And so yeah, hopefully here in just a short little amount of time, we will have the car up and going. What am I doing here? Did I not just have that in my hand? Oh, anyway. So we've got the carburetor mounted back on it now. We got a couple more things to hook up here. Put a battery in it, and we're gonna test our fuel system first before we try to crank it and make sure we don't have any leaks. Or if we do, just not big leaks. Here's what we're working with. Flathead, 6-cylinder, we've already been through the carburetor. There's a needle in the seat and the float level and all that set up. Got everything cleaned out, all the gum cleaned out. And new spark plugs. Somebody's obviously been here before. They've got some great wiring going on here that some of it's a little suspect. They're not sure what it is, but we are about to attempt to set a battery in it and see if we can make some kind of car related sounds.
Well, it's outside. Here's what happens. I film everything with my phone. No fancy equipment here. I film everything with my phone. So I started to film, firing it up and trying to back it out, and somebody tries to call me. I did not realize that your phone will stop recording when a phone call comes through. So we don't have that footage, but here it is. Now, one thing did happen, and I ain't mad at it. Apparently, this thing still has the original starter on it, and after 75 years, it's decided to quit working. I don't know. You just can't get good parts anymore. I mean, the hell, man. 75 years. Come on. I mean, I don't know why they can't just build quality shit that lasts. Man, I guess I'm just going to have to buy another starter now. I mean, you can't get nothing that'll last. I mean, I bet the next one next one probably won't even last 75 years. I mean, well, come on, man, really?